Okay, we're going to have a look at a very simple practice soldering task, just so that we can practice using the soldering iron, using the wire strippers, using the solder. So what we're going to need for that is we're going to need a small piece of solder. This is plenty. We're going to need the wire strippers, a soldering iron, a stand, a sponge, a small length of wire, and a 1K resistor. So we're just going to zoom in here and we're going to look at these components. Now what we're going to do first of all here is we're going to use the wire strippers to strip about 1 centimetre of the insulation off of this wire. So we just, as you can see there, I've just nipped it up, it's cut away the insulation there, and then you can see the strands of the copper cable. And I'm going to twist those up to keep them neat and tidy. I could use the clipper part here to trim that down to about 1 centimetre. I've already done the other end. So what I've done is I've stripped the insulator off both ends of this cable. I'm going to join this to a 1K resistor. Now the way we do this is we first of all coat the parts that we want to join in a coat of solder, and we call this process tinning. So for this process we're going to take a piece of solder, we're going to take our soldering iron, and we're just going to touch the tip of the soldering iron. It's fairly clean anyway, but if we touch it on the tip of that soldering iron you might see a little bit of steam there, and the steam just cleans the tip off, and then we can add a small coating of solder onto the soldering iron. We now say that the tip of the soldering iron is tinned. We're going to then tin the twisted up cable that we have here. So we can just hold the soldering iron on and move it backwards and forwards, and you can see there, probably need to add a little bit more, and if we do that, and we can see that the soldering iron melts the cable, melts the solder, and what we're looking for is a nice even coating. And I'll just move this over here, you can see, and I'm just going to do that again and give a nice coating. And actually capillary action, the just want to get that so you can see it, and we've got capillary action there. The solder runs in between the twisted strands and we get a nice about 1 mm diameter pin, slightly under, and that is now cooled down and is ready to go. I'm going to also add a bit of solder. Sorry, I'll move that over so you can see it. I'm going to add a bit of solder, or tin the leg of the resistor, and you can see there, just pick that up, that we've done the same thing. We've got a coating of solder onto the resistor, and then to join these, which I want to do now, is quite simple. We just touch the two together, you can see that, and touch them with the soldering iron, put the soldering iron back in the stand, and we can see there that we've got an electrically conductive joint that is actually mechanically quite strong. If you want to, just for fun, you can try and connect up the other end. It's a little bit more tricky. As I say, we're just doing this as a practice, so I'm tinning that. Now the most difficult thing here is keeping the thing. You really need almost another pair of hands, but what you can do is use a tool and just balance that on. Add a little bit of extra solder there. That's jumped out of the way. That's something on back. Careful, because this is conductive. And there's our little practice soldering. So we've managed to solder the resistor to the two ends of the wire. We've got fairly neat soldering. We could have put heat shrink over that if we were going to use it electrically, but as I say, it is just a practice piece. And there is our completed practice piece with the 1K resistor and the cable.